Um, okay, so let's see what love is bringing toward you. Something has shifted in how someone sees you. And it's not the surface level shift you might be used to. This isn't about physical attraction intensifying or chemistry deepening. This is something fundamentally different. They've crossed a line they can't uncross. From being intrigued by you to actually loving you, from wanting you to needing you in their life in a way that goes beyond desire, from being attracted to being attached in the way that changes how they see their entire future. Let me describe what this looks like. You may have noticed a change in their energy lately, not just more attention, but different attention, the kind that feels less like pursuit and more like care, less like they're trying to win you and more like they're trying to know you. Some people experience this shift as confusing at first. They're so used to the game, the chase, the performance of early attraction, and suddenly this person is being real, vulnerable, genuinely interested in the parts of you that aren't designed to impress. It might feel like conversations have gotten deeper without you noticing the transition, like they're asking different questions, listening differently, remembering things you mentioned weeks ago that most people forget immediately. And you might be thinking, are they just really interested or is this something more? It's something more, and they might not have fully realized it themselves yet. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, has someone's energy toward you shifted from pursuit to genuine care? Because pursuit has an agenda. Pursuit wants something. Pursuit is strategic. But care? Care is just present. Care shows up without needing a reason. Care asks how you're doing and actually wants to know the real answer. You may have been protecting yourself from this, keeping it surface, maintaining the dynamic at we're attracted to each other because that feels safer than we actually matter to each other. It's possible you're more comfortable being wanted than being loved because being wanted is about what you offer, what you do, how you look, how you make them feel. And you can control those things. But being loved is about who you are underneath all of that. The parts you can't perform, the messy human parts, the vulnerable parts, the parts that aren't particularly attractive or impressive, but are just you. Some people panic when relationships move from attraction to love because attraction feels powerful. You can weaponize attraction, you can use it to maintain control, you can withdraw it to create distance or intensify it to pull someone closer. You may have been operating in that space using attraction as your tool, keeping things hot and surface and manageable. But this person isn't staying in that space anymore. They're moving deeper, and you can't control that. You can't weaponize love the way you can weaponize attraction. It can feel destabilizing when someone starts actually loving you, like you're losing your leverage, like the rules are changing, and you don't know how to play this new game. But it's not a game anymore. And that's exactly what's shifting. This reflection invites you to consider, are you more comfortable being desired or being loved? There's something specific about how you can tell the difference. It's possible attraction asks, what are you doing tonight? But love asks, how are you really doing? Attraction wants your time. Love wants your truth. Attraction gets excited about surface things, how you look, what you're wearing, the chemistry when you're together. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of connection. But love gets excited about who you are, your thoughts, your dreams, your fears, the way your mind works, the way you see the world. Some people never make this transition. They stay in attraction forever. They date the same person for years and never actually know them, never move past the performance into the real. You may have experienced that before. Relationships that felt intense but hollow, where you were wanted but not known, where the attraction was strong but the foundation was non existent. But this is different. This person is moving from wanting to know you, from being attracted to your surface to being fascinated by your depth. And you can see it in small things. The way they remember details you barely remember sharing, the way they notice when your energy is off, even when you're trying to hide it, the way they want to understand your past, not just access your present. It can feel exposing, like someone seeing parts of you that you usually keep hidden. Like you can't maintain the polished version because they're interested in the real version. This reflection invites you to consider, is someone trying to actually know you, not just have you? Let me talk about what might have triggered this shift. It's possible they saw you in a moment that wasn't designed to impress. Maybe you were tired or stressed or dealing with something real. And instead of being less attracted, they were more drawn in, because real is magnetic to people who are ready for real. Performance is attractive, but vulnerability is where love starts. They might have seen you handle something difficult with grace, or watched you care about something deeply, or witnessed you being kind when you thought no one was watching. Some people fall in love with curated versions, but this person fell in love with an authentic moment, and that changes everything. You may not even remember the moment. You weren't trying to make an impression. You were just being yourself, and that's exactly what got them. Because you can't fake the things that make people actually fall in love. You can't manufacture the qualities that create real attachment. You can attract with performance, but you inspire love by being human. It can feel anticlimactic, like you spent all this time trying to be impressive, and what actually got them was you just existing normally. But that's how it works. Attraction is about highlights. Love is about the full picture. This reflection invites you to consider what moment of realness might have shifted how they see you. There's something about what this means for them specifically. It's possible they're scared because loving someone gives that person power, power to hurt you, power to leave, power to matter so much that losing them would actually damage you. And if they're someone who values control, someone who doesn't like being vulnerable, someone who's been hurt before, this feeling is terrifying. They might pull back sometimes, not because they don't feel it, but because they feel it too much and don't know what to do with that intensity. Some people sabotage right when things get real, right when it shifts from fun to significant, because significant is scary, significant has stakes. You may see them oscillate, close then distant, all in then pulling back, not because they're playing games, but because they're trying to manage feelings that are bigger than they're comfortable with. And if you don't understand that's what's happening, it can feel like rejection, like you did something wrong, like they're losing interest. But it's the opposite. They're dealing with too much interest, too much feeling, too much attachment that makes them vulnerable in ways they don't usually allow. It can feel frustrating watching someone fight their own feelings. Like, just surrender to it. Just let yourself love me without making it so complicated. But everyone has their own pace, their own process, their own wounds that make love scary instead of safe. This reflection invites you to consider if someone's pulling back because they're overwhelmed by how much they feel. Can you give them space without personalizing it? Let me talk about what you might be feeling about this. It's possible you're feeling vindicated, like finally, like you've been showing up authentically this whole time and someone's finally seeing it, finally valuing it, finally loving you for who you actually are instead of who you pretend to be. Or you're feeling scared because if they love you, really love you, then losing them would actually hurt. Then this stops being casual. Then you have to decide if you love them back. Maybe you're feeling both, vindicated and terrified, excited that someone sees you and anxious about what that visibility requires. Some people want to be loved in theory, but panic when it becomes real, because real love requires real vulnerability, real trust, real risk. You may have wanted this, hoped for this, and now that it's here, you're not sure you're ready for what it demands. Because being loved correctly means you can't hide anymore. You can't use "they don't really know me" as protection. You can't convince yourself that if they knew the real you, they'd leave. They're getting to know the real you, and they're not leaving, they're leaning in. It can feel like your defenses are being dismantled, like all your carefully constructed reasons why this won't work are being challenged by the reality of someone who actually wants to work through things. This reflection invites you to consider, are you ready to be loved by someone who actually sees you? There's something about what this requires from you. It's possible you need to stop testing them, stop creating obstacles to see if they'll jump over them, stop sabotaging to see if they'll stay anyway. Because tests and games work in attraction, but they destroy love. Love needs honesty, needs trust, needs you to show up as vulnerable as they're showing up. You can't receive love while wearing armor. You can't let someone in while keeping them at arm's length. You can't experience real intimacy while maintaining escape routes. Some people are so afraid of being hurt that they hurt themselves preemptively. They push away people who are trying to get close. They create problems that don't exist to justify their fear of commitment. You may be tempted to do this, to find reasons why this person isn't right, to focus on flaws, to convince yourself that their love isn't real or won't last or will hurt you eventually. But that's just fear talking. Fear that sounds very reasonable and protective, but is actually just keeping you from something you actually want. It can feel safer to stay in control than to surrender to connection. Safer to keep it surface than to let it deepen. Safer to focus on attraction than to acknowledge love. But safety isn't the same as happiness. And control isn't the same as connection. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it cost you to actually let this person love you? Let me talk about what happens if you let this be real. It's possible this becomes the relationship that changes how you understand love. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Built on actual knowing instead of projection. On genuine care instead of performance. You might discover what it feels like to be with someone who loves your realness more than your highlight reel. Who's more attracted to your depth than your surface, who wants to know your thoughts as much as they want to touch your body. And that kind of love, it's different. It doesn't burn out the way attraction-based relationships do. It doesn't depend on constant novelty or intensity. It just is less than #0. 5 is greater than grows, deepens, becomes more valuable over time instead of less. Some people never experience this. They stay in surface connections their whole lives, relationships that feel exciting but empty, intense but unstable, hot but hollow. You may have experienced plenty of those. Relationships where you were wanted but not loved, desired but not known, pursued but not valued for anything beyond what you offered them. But this is different. This is someone seeing past what you offer to who you are and choosing you anyway, actually choosing you more because of it. It can feel like coming home, like you've been performing for so long and someone's finally saying, you can stop now. I like you better this way. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it feel like to stop performing and just be loved? You remain in complete control of what you do with this. You can lean in, pull back, test it, trust it, receive it, reject it. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up a specific person and maybe hope, maybe fear, maybe the recognition that what's happening between you has shifted into territory you're not used to navigating. Whatever it is, honor it, take what resonates, softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If someone truly loves you, not just wants you, does that make you want to run toward them or away from them? Drop it in the comments if you want to be honest. And what's the difference between how you act when someone's attracted to you versus when someone loves you? It's not just attraction. They're truly in love with you now is less than Hasson. Zero hash is greater than. And that changes the entire dynamic, changes what's possible, changes what's required. You can stay in the safety of surface attraction, or you can risk the vulnerability of real love. One feels safer, the other feels real. Not eventually, right now. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you're worthy of being loved, not just wanted. Trust that someone seeing the real you and choosing you is the goal, not the threat. Trust that vulnerability with the right person is strength, not weakness. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, being desired is powerful, but being loved, that's transformative. Let yourself be transformed. You've earned it. Stay open. Stay real. Stay brave enough to be seen.